I think today what we want to talk about is just the vision. And when we think about vision, when we're working with clients, it's a lot of, usually you have kind of marketing over here and then you have sales over here. And they don't always, kind of communicate, and they're not always integrated in what's, trying to, kind of happen. We helped launch the Chargers, the NFL team in LA a few years ago, and the marketing and sales didn't speak at all. We would get leads, and then the salespeople, and they'd be like, sign up for a newsletter, and the sales team is trying to call them, 3 times a day to, buy tickets. We're like, guys, it doesn't really work that way. You need to kind of establish a relationship, kind of understand where they're coming from. If anything, you can do more harm to a lot of the work that we spent on marketing to be able to acquire them in the first place. And so, kind of for us, we always want to make sure that, how do you get that alignment? What does that look like? And make sure it's really clear around,
expectations. And then the execution of that and kind of what that would look like. And then I think at the end, we definitely want to answer any questions, kind of at all, whether it's on the sales side or on the marketing as well. So for us, this is kind of a new, even word in a lot of ways. And what is it? What does sales enablement ultimately mean? And what we're seeing a lot is there's so much manual entry that a salesperson ultimately has to do, from market research to logging calls, logging tasks. What HubSpot is really doing is allowing salespeople to do what they do best, and that's talking to other people, prospects, and trying to close them. And they have a lot of technology and processes now that are kind of helping automate that. So that's really what sales enablement is at its core. And what we want to see is that being integrated kind of across the board. And so for us, and I think about it, and it's got to be so about, I think, even personal life of okay, everything's in a funnel. What does the business look like, and how do you get kind of more leads, and then establish a relationship, and then slowly kind of nurture them farther and farther down the funnel. And I think salespeople look at it as, we have someone we can contact, we're going to call them immediately. Marketing, I think we all want to be able to nurture and develop that relationship. And we say a lot of times, you don't want to ask someone to marry them on the first date. You want to be able to kind of establish rapport, add value, and so that when you are ready to close that sale, they feel like there's a relationship actually established. And so for us, there's a lot of different definitions around it. There's a lot of accountability that ultimately needs to happen across these departments. And what we try and think about a lot with our clients is, we actually get a ton of content from the sales team. What are the common challenges or objections that you're actually hearing, and how do we start integrating that into the sales process, but also into the marketing and lead nurturing as well. And so for us, what is even a qualified lead? And it's kind of funny, that seems like that's a no-brainer and everybody's already doing that, but time and time again, when we go into that initial discovery or audit, that hasn't even been kind of established from a marketing standpoint, or kind of from the sales perspective either. Again, they're do they have a first name, last name, and a phone number I can call? That's a qualified lead. We're well, that's not always kind of the case, and let's unpack that a little bit further. And so what we do is we really want to try and identify what is the ideal kind of customer profile. And so there's a lot of ways to do this. HubSpot actually has a ton of resources on persona checklists, questions to ask, how to go about it. Some of it, we talk to our clients' actual customers, actual sales prospects. We talk to the sales team. We talk to the customer service team. And then we have templates that we build in, that we kind of create. And then we actually give them names, and we kind of refer it. It's maybe it's Charlie the CEO, or Mary the marketer, or whoever it is. It just helps really say this piece of content, this email that we're doing, who is this going for, what are their challenges, and how do we best address that? And so, for us, kind of going into it, what is a B2C, business to consumer, ideal customer profile? Wants to live in Seattle, has an annual income, has a credit score of at least 700, can pass a background check. I think for us, what are the questions that are most relevant, that are going to help increase the likelihood of that sale? And then on the B2B, it can be completely different. And so, okay, we're only targeting healthcare companies. They're located in the U.S. They have a very strong online presence. They're a large company. They have 1,000 employees or more on LinkedIn. As we go through, and so Each one's going to be a little bit different, but once you've established that, I think what happens is it really helps you think the process from that initial engagement or conversation. And what I mean by that is, we do a lot of like lead scoring. We'll build a form, and a lot of people even don't think about the questions they're asking. They say, okay, we have the first name, we have last name, we have physical address, we have this, this, and this. And I'm like, well, why do you need the physical address? Do you need, are you actually going to be doing direct mail? Are you going to do this? Well, no. Well, could there be a question that you could actually ask so that you could start nurturing content to help, kind of move them down the funnel? What is your biggest, challenge today? For us, we're talking to companies that want to get onto HubSpot or use inbound marketing. We can say, what is your biggest marketing challenge today? And it could be driving leads, it could be driving awareness, it could be, converting, our leads to sales. And so that helps us establish some dialogue of content that we could actually be sending these prospects. So it's going to be a higher likelihood of the actual sale. And so what are those key traits? Again, if you Google anything around persona profile builder within HubSpot, there's tons and tons of resources that are available to be able to use. And then, I think too, drilling in a little bit further, around the leads, who is a good fit and who's not. Have you done that analysis on who's closing, over the last 60, 90 days and who's not, and why is that, and kind of unpacking it a little bit more. We do a pretty big audit discovery with the client to truly understand what is working and what's not before we dive into tactics. We have a lot of clients say we need blogging, we need email marketing, we need whatever, but they haven't really unpacked why. They just say, okay, I get this directive that we need a blog 3 times a week. Well, if you have 15 people reading your blog a month, maybe it isn't blogging. Maybe you need to really think through your social media strategy, paid media strategy, or SEO if you're not necessarily getting enough traffic. So, for us, kind of putting that in place, I think is going to be really important. And I've said this enough, and don't have to keep, but not all qualified leads are actually ready. And so, have you established a life cycle stage of prospect lead, marketing qualified lead, sales qualified lead, customer evangelist, and then where do they fit in, kind of within that, and what are the qualities or the properties that need to happen for that to be successful. And so, I think for us, we kind of go into these 3 different stages, kind of awareness, consideration, and decision. And a stat that always stands out to me is only about 2% of the people visiting your website are ready to engage in any way. Fill out a form, live chat, pick up the phone and call. But that's the majority of what everybody focuses on is where's our phone number, where's our contact form, and they don't think about the other 98% that might be in that general, kind of awareness stage. And so, for us, a really successful campaign was with Nakati, the master plan community here, and they had tons of traffic. And buying a house, that's a really big decision. If you're just doing basic research, you're not ready to pick up the phone and call someone and say, hey, get ready to sell. Especially, I know we have some people in real estate, they have that that reputation of just okay, they're going to call, and blow up my phone, and I'm doing research to even see if I want to move. And so what we did was we kind of looked at the data, and this was in 2011. People didn't even know what a master plan community was. They're like, what is this? What is this concept? And so we put an ebook together with our marketing department, and it was the 5 benefits of a master plan community. It was very simple. It was really like a blog post, and I think they were a little skeptical if people would give an email to download that information. But what we ended up having was at first 350, 400 people a month downloading this ebook. And then we would ask, first name, last name, email for sure, but which best describes you? Are you a first-time home buyer? Are you an empty nester? Are you a growing family? And then how quickly are you looking to move? Is it 3 months? Is it 18 months? And so what that allowed us to do was capture a ton of leads that they wouldn't have otherwise captured, and then we knew a lot about them so that we could nurture them really effectively down the funnel. And then we could actually track how many people downloaded that ebook that actually bought a home, kind of all the way through. And so, I think as we're thinking through awareness, I think it's the single biggest missed opportunity with a lot of businesses is that they focus on, bottom of the funnel, people that are ready to talk to them right now, and I really challenge everybody to really think about other types of content that you can be able to put in place to take advantage more of the awareness and kind of what that looks like. Consideration, I mean, that's, again, maybe with Nagate, it's like, okay, I know I'm ready to move. I know I'm in this, general, kind of neighborhood, but I don't know if it's Nagate or if it's at the beach or Riverside or wherever it may be. And so they're still kind of considering, what their options are, and they're not necessarily still ready. And so how do we further validate, add value to kind of nurture them, farther and farther down the funnel? And what you should have in your database isn't just leads. It should be these 3 different, kind of stages around the life cycle of just a normal lead, a marketing qualified lead, and then what we consider a sales qualified lead, which is really they're ready to kind of make a decision, and they're between you and somebody else. I think if you can map that out, it can be really effective, and it can help drive where the content's going to be and the materials that you actually create along with the collateral. And then for us, are they sales ready, which we consider kind of a hand raiser, someone that's explicitly said, yes, I'm ready to talk to sales. And then that feed off to the sales team, as mostly marketers, I would imagine, in the room, is going to be that much more effective. We get a lot pushback sometimes of like, all these leads are shit, and we can't call them and they're not returning the call. We're like, well, you're not allowing us to nurture them properly and actually build kind of the value and the rapport. And so that's where we have to kind of have that give and take a little bit. But you do want to identify the ones that are ready so that they can talk to somebody immediately. And kind of putting that in place around if they're not ready, we need to be able to do kind of further marketing and then ultimately for further nurturing as well. For us, kind of the more leads you have, the higher the qualification standards. Again, I say a lot, is the juice ultimately worth the squeeze? If you have all these nurturing campaigns, market automation, and it's really built out with lead scoring, and it's amazing, but you get 20 leads a month. Okay, that's a little overkill, and you don't need to do that. And so, for us, we're always looking at stages of the funnel. How do you maybe fill each bucket? But we do have clients that get thousands and thousands of leads a month, and they're treating them all the same, and that's where I think it can be really effective. So it just depends on, kind of where you're at and how do you nurture them, based on kind of your profile and what you see from a marketing standpoint. The low volume sales, ultimately, again, if it's a quick decision, it's not a lengthy buying process, you don't necessarily have to do around like lead nurturing. I think about, you're buying a t-shirt, you're buying something that's just like transactional. You're not sitting there, I think for most people, doing hours and hours and hours of research, kind of around that potential t-shirt. So if you have a lot of those poor fit, what we start to ask with the sales team, because I hate more than anything as a marketer of like, these leads aren't good. Well, why are they not good? And we'll listen on the phone calls. We'll talk directly to the sales team and sit down. Like, are you not able to contact them? Are they not ready to buy right now? Are they not qualified? Truly understanding that, so you can kind of have a little bit of pushback and actual dialogue to kind of build that. And then looking at maybe certain sources are sending bad leads. Is that a referral source? Is that, through your PPC, maybe you need to kind of clean that up. Organic, just kind of looking all the way through. Is it the messaging? We've had a lot of changing messaging around the website too that I think is really important that you can kind of look at. I don't, who are they, who should they be buying from? Is there, kind of referral sources off of that potentially? And yeah, we do have a lot around, kind of evangelists, and what do we call an evangelist? In HubSpot, you can track how many emails they're opening, how many emails they're clicking on, how much social media content are they engaging with, webinars are they attending, events do they come to, and you can build a subset and kind of treat them, much differently as ambassadors of your brand, and think about marketing campaigns specifically for them. There's nothing people like more than being recognized. And so that's, with the Jaguars, we helped them build like the Jaguars Black program around like the business, and that was really around like dinners and experiences and events and access because of people that were spending a certain amount of money with the Jaguars and were those kind of evangelists. So starting to think through that as a program or an overview, I think is really important. So that's a lot of the definitions, in terms of like what we're kind of looking at and how we, go about putting everything together. This is something that we've facilitated a little bit, a service level agreement, and just making sure that you're on the same page, so that there is that open communication, kind of across the board. And for us, it could be the agency and the client, but it could also be between internal marketing and internal sales. Like, what are the goals and the expectations of what you want, so you have that transparency. Understanding from the CEO or like senior leadership around what's the revenue goal, how many sales do you ultimately need to build. We have a calculator that's really neat where it shows, okay, you're at, just for demonstration purposes, 1,000 visits a month to your site. You're getting, let's say, 10 leads out of that, and out of those 10 leads, one's turning into a sale. And so when we start thinking about, what if we kept the traffic the same, but we churn 1% conversion into 2%? So that 1,000 visitors turns into 20 leads coming through. At the same conversion rate, you get 2 more sales with the same more traffic. What if we also got your lead to sale from 10% to 20%? Same amount of traffic, and then you got 4 sales a month coming from that same existing traffic. And so for us, we want to look at the whole entire journey, not just like throwing more marketing dollars at Facebook. If there's opportunities hidden within your existing traffic or within your existing leads too. And so just, I think understanding that is going to be really important as you go through. And, just very sample, kind of what we are able to do, or anybody's able to do really. How many leads, and then again, there's nothing worse as a marketer of like sending qualified leads and then, we don't even hear back if they contacted them or if anything actually happened. So, for us, a little aside, like we did a contact form for a client where, it's just like, hey, contact us, blah, blah, blah. And then we changed it from somebody will be in touch to someone will be in touch within 2 hours, because they had like a full-time within normal business hours. And that increased their conversion by 10% on that one page, just doing that alone. So there's like little things that you can also do that can really help enhance the conversion to optimize what's already going on. And so for us, what is the existing close rate? What is the sales price? And then that's going to help you get to that lead value. And that's going to speak, as marketers, what is the first thing to go a lot of times is the marketing budget, it seems like. And so, are we getting the best bang for our buck? You start talking to like this to your management to kind of get more budget and get more approval. They start really understanding it and kind of doing that analysis as you're kind of preparing that. Or you can talk about dollar figures, and then kind of call it as marketing qualified lead versus sales qualified lead. And then I think too, with what's going on now with the technology of HubSpot and what's available from a content perspective, it's kind of neat where this blend, when we started, was just all marketing automation all the time. Now it's turning into the sales enablement. And if sales team's getting objections, how do we start building content into the CRM that they could actually use to close more sales? Might not be more leads, it might just be doing a better job of actually closing those leads. And so, for us, we invest a lot in like collateral that could be blogs, that could be videos, that could be webinars, that could be white papers, ebooks, because then the sale becomes that much easier because they already feel like they have that relationship that you're able to do. And so if anybody's in here that is B2B or B2C with a larger sale, I can't stress enough how important kind of quality content is to be able to kind of drive a better kind of experience and higher close rate.